Hello everyone, I'm Alan, also known as McLaren 2009, and today I'm back playing Derail Valley. I'm picking up where I left off on Monday. On Monday. I'm currently at the steel mill, and I have 3 jobs currently, and they are to take rails and pipes back to the harbor. In order to do that, I have these 2 DE6 locomotives just chilling over here. But let's figure out which one is going to go at the back. Alright, so that's 57,000. And this is 55,000. So that's 2,000 kilograms difference. It's not going to make too much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. So now I just pick one and get hooked up to that. Alright, well, the first one that I can get lined up with is this one right here. So let's get my remote. Which actually means that... Alright, let's see which one this is first. Because this one's going to be at the... Or this one's going to be in the front. Alright, so this is 43. And that one's going to the E track. Okay. Well, that's going to make it interesting. Alright, so go up here. If it'll let me. Let's apply the independent, kick off the train brake, and turn this off for right now. Gonna need it in a second. Alright, turn on all of the breakers. Go out here. I'm already calling it now. When the simulator update comes out, a lot of people, myself included, are going to run into doors and windows for like ever because we're not used to having to actually open them. So there's going to be some growing pains when the update comes out. Okay, I gotta slide back in real life. So I gotta get away from my desk. Because the last thing you want to do is accidentally love tap your desk. And hit it with the controller. Especially since my controller started having like some minor like glitches, but they just had to be cleaned. Wasn't that big of a deal. And now I have contact cleaner, so if they start messing up again, I'm already set. Alright, so let's go over here, pop this into forward, throttle up, kick off the independent brake, and we gotta get to this switch right here. Probably should have hit the horn to say that we were moving, but safety third in Derail Valley. Alright, so we get over here, and that is past the switch. Hit the independent. pop it into reverse, throttle up, kick off the independent, and we get moving. But we gotta be really careful because it's somewhat downhill, and we just have to get to those flat cars over there. And the thing about the flat cars is they specifically do not like being hit fast. They absolutely will brake at 7 kilometers an hour, which isn't a whole lot. It's kind of slow, but it is what it is. The thing that kind of makes it annoying, though, is that there are kind of like these, what I describe as invisible walls on the tracks, or on the switches specifically. And apparently, what the bug is doing, you can see right here that the wheels are rolling that way. Apparently, it'll pick like a truck completely at random, and it'll reverse the wheels so that they're going the opposite direction. And best case scenario, it just slows you down. Worst case scenario, it either destroys a car, a locomotive, or the cargo, or it completely derails altogether. Luckily, it doesn't happen all that much in the grand scheme of things, but it happens to me a lot more than I would like. But at least now I have an explanation of what's going on. Alright. Throttle up. Or not throttle up. Independent brake. Let's go over here. Grab this. Throw it over there. Tighten it down. Grab some airlines. Alright, good to go. Now, let's run all the way back here and make sure we've got air. Because that is a problem that we potentially have to deal with. As you can see, air hoses are good. Sort of. And we go back here. And we do the thing that you don't have to do in real life, but as you already know, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, my experience is with trucks. So if you have multiple trailers, you go to each vehicle in the chain, and you open up the emergency air line, or the air valve, to basically make sure air is tied in and being sent through the system. You don't have to do that with a locomotive, mostly because there's an automated system that does it for you. There is the thing called the end of train device. It basically sits back here, connected to the coupling system and tied into the very last vehicle in the train, in the consist, and it's connected to the last vehicle so that it can tell you the brake pipe pressure at the end of the train. It's also flashing and blinking red like nonstop. So flashing rear end device, also called FRED, apparently. But the thing about that is it's connected by radio to the locomotive. So it has to be set up or it has to be installed and set up properly before you can even leave. Like, it's done before the crew that even takes the train out of the yard gets on the locomotive. It'll be done by the guys that are building the train in the yard. Because for all practical purposes, there's two different types of jobs you could potentially be doing for the railroad. You could be working in the yard, switching cars, or you could be going over the road. And in Derail Valley, you kind of do both. Just like also in Derail Valley, you kind of play as both the engineer and the conductor. Whereas in real life, this type of thing would best be done by two people, at least. But there are things like this handy little remote here that make it so that it's possible for one person to do it. But I don't know if that's necessarily the best system, if that makes sense. Supposedly, from what I've seen online, the remotes have a lot more information than what's shown on this, but it's still not a complete replacement for having a dedicated engineer sitting in the cab working the controls while the conductor, or more specifically me in real life starting next month, the conductor could be at the back of the train with a radio saying how far you are away from the cars. Yeah, I can control the locomotive from here, and there's a real system to do this in real life. But in my opinion, it's probably better to do it with an engineer and a conductor, and not just with a conductor and a remote. Ow! I messed up. Nope, I gotta move that. Alright, we need to get this back aligned with 3. Because that seems to be the way that we do things. Alright, so we gotta throttle up. And this train is gonna get a lot heavier. Which is gonna make it interesting because this is predominantly uphill. So let me get a drink real quick. Alright. It's kind of funny, I can almost flip it down like I would a welding shield. But not very effectively, mind you. Alright. It's going uphill, so it's gonna slow down gradually. And then we gotta flip this switch because we need the rails. Alright. So, let's hit the horn real quick. Let's kill the throttle. I do kind of wish there was a system like what I do with it in my in the locomotives that I built in Stormworks, a completely different game that has probably like the worst system for controlling trains and all that. Like, it's not a good game to play with trains in because they're just so impractical and such a royal pain to use. But the point is, it's a vehicle sandbox, essentially. And I built a series of diesel locomotives, and my locomotives have switches so that you can do like an basically like the real ones that have the red switch that you can uncover and then flip to activate the emergency brakes for the entire train. I have that, but I have a switch for both the train and the independent brake on the locomotive. And then on top of that, I also have a system where I have an automatic stop for the throttle so that you can automatically like flip it from notch 8 to 0. Now, to my knowledge, that is not a real system, but it's pretty cool to have, even if it's not realistic. So I built my personal locomotives in Stormworks with built-in safety features so that you can emergency activate both sets of brakes and emergency cut off the throttle going to the engine. But since the game doesn't really have any other mechanics that would be like native to trains and how they work, it's just kind of like the workaround that I did to just add a few more like switches and things to make the control stand a little more busy, if that makes sense. Alright. Alright. Fully set the independent. Grab this right here, put it right there. Okay, now we have... Let's put that forward, and let's go to the back of this cut of cars. And this is 5, which is that one right there. Alright, so double check all of the brakes. It'll be really cool when the simulator update comes out because all of the cars will have handbrakes. And they'll be in the game by default, so you don't have to mod them in. And then the other thing that kind of builds off of that, they said in the videos describing the handbrakes and what they're used for, that there will be at least one handbrake tied at the end of each cut of cars. Now, that might not necessarily be exactly how it works in real life, like there would be more handbrakes tied than just one, but it's something, and then it actually gives you a reason to kind of walk up and down the length of the train to make sure that all of the wheels are released, all of the handbrakes are released. and this is a heavy train. Alright, we're up to notch 3. And we're going to start slowing down a little bit because it's pretty much all uphill until we get to the Y north of the harbor. But the point is, we don't have to push all that hard. And we don't have to go that fast just yet. The time is coming, but we're not there yet. Alright, so I'm going to flip this switch to get lined up back with the runaround. Oh, no, that's not a runaround. Those are just storage tracks. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to bother flipping this switch. The only runaround is the main line. And I've currently got the main line blocked anyway because I have a caboose and some pipes sitting there. So I just got to flip this switch as soon as the last car passes it. I keep saying it like over and over again, but the fact that the switch ends up here, but the sign and the mechanism is back here, is kind of annoying to me. Like, you would think it would work better being closer to the end of the switch. Like, you have more leverage farther away from the fulcrum. So, moving the rail side to side, you would think it would work better being at the end. But I don't know if that's something that's being addressed in Simulator. For all I know, it's not even like a problem. Okay, we gotta throttle up again. Because we're almost out, but we're just not yet. And even with the extra, like, kilometer range that the caboose gives me, it's still, like, we're getting out there as far as, like, distance away from the locomotive. By Derail Valley standards, this is actually going to be a pretty good sized train. Alright, let's not throttle up. Because we already know that it's going downhill. It's going to pick up speed like crazy. And there's not a whole lot of space between the back of that car and the front of that car. And currently it's only up to 8 kilometers an hour, but that's still a little fast. So we're going to have to slow it down a little bit. Although I may have slowed it down a little too much, but it's whatever. We're just along for the ride at this point. Alright, and we can't even see the locomotive, so it's anyone's guess. It's up there somewhere. And we keep an eye on that. Alright, it'll just come back nice and slow. It's kind of funny. I've only gotten hooked up to the cars, or I'm just now getting hooked up to the last set of cars, and it's going on 30 minutes. But then again, I guess they were saying that pretty much the general rule of thumb is every movement takes 15 minutes, at least. And as of this exact moment, it appears that is true. But it also means that we're not getting the speed bonus at all. This is all done extremely slowly, methodically. Alright, now we go all the way back and we continue on with my current trend of making sure that we've got air coming out the other end of the train, so we're going to go all the way back to the caboose. And check to make sure air is coming out of the pipe. Which it should be, because all we did was move this to this line. And actually, while we're here... Okay, let's... Okay, so I just didn't set the handbrake on the caboose last time. It's whatever. Air's coming out. Good to go. Alright, so now I'm completely lined up with the main. I have my caboose. I have all 3 cuts of cars. Now all we gotta do is just go to the harbor. Let's put that away, because I'm not really gonna need it anymore at this point. I guess in theory I could get a running start at the hill, but it's not going to make much of a difference whether I flip the throttle with the remote and then just teleport back to the train, or if I take my time and walk over there and then just use the throttle lever in the cab by hand. It's not going to make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things. If anything, doing it this way is more entertaining, I guess, because it's more involved, I should say. It would be up to you as the viewers if it would be considered more entertaining, but it's more involved. And then the other thing, I guess I'm kind of like picking and choosing which things I'm trying to get ready for, because I already know that when the simulator update is released, I want to switch to, or I'm going to use this save right now because I've got $2.4 million. So I'm going to use this save to buy the new licenses, so that I have everything unlocked for sandbox mode, and I can do custom difficulties in sandbox. But then I'm going to start over with a completely fresh new save on the realistic difficulty setting. So basically you have to do everything by hand. And they're It sounds like they're basically going to nerf teleporting or dashing so that it's more efficient to walk or sprint, because I'm pressing the sprint button. But the point is, it will be less efficient to just sprint everywhere. Alright, this will literally be the last thing. Alright, throttle up, kick off the independent, and let's see if these two DE6s can move all of this uphill. The DE6 is very powerful. But this is taking a lot of weight uphill. But if you notice on the speedometer, you'll see our speed is going up. But we're going to see if it is still going up past this switch right here. Because it gets slightly steeper going up this part than it does over here. Like that hill, it's one of the steepest hills in the game. If you're not going at least 35 coming up this hill, you're not going to make it. You're going to stop and you're going to have to roll back, and you're going to have to roll back far to get a good running start to make it up this hill. But luckily, it's the worst right about there. So at this point, it's not that bad, but there's still a good chance you may need a running start if you get stalled on this part of the hill. Alright, let's hit the horn real quick. Alright, the good news is we haven't needed to use sand yet, and we're not even at full throttle. I don't want to go up to 8 unless I need to. But since the speed is kind of holding at about 22, which is still slow, but we're making progress. I'm doing good. How are you? Welcome to the stream. Basically, today I am carrying a lot of steel from the steel mill to the harbor. I've got 2 rather long cuts of rails and some pipes that I brought down from the goods factory. And with just how my luck works, of course they're going to 3 different tracks. And then the best part is, I'm just leaving the steel mill now, and I'm going on 35 minutes of playing. So, guaranteed I'm gonna be late. But it's... I'm actually about to start actually working for the railroad in a couple of weeks. So I'm probably going to be hitting the simulators pretty hard in the coming weeks. And since I have more fun with this one, I'll probably play this one more. But I am still going to go to Train Sim World pretty soon. If I don't do it later tonight, I'll probably do it tomorrow. But yeah, about to actually start working as a conductor. So that'd be pretty cool. Do I really need to put this thing on 8? No. 8 is bad. 7 is fine, 8 is not. Just goes to show just how heavy this train is. Alright, so I need goods factory. It's going to D. I know how I can do this. Alright, so normally what I would do is I would go into the harbor, I would go down the C track, use the Y in front of the loading track to get turned around. It's like use the Y to get turned around, and then I would back up into the D track. However, I'm not going to do that this time. Actually, I might still have to do that. Because I'm talking about the D track, and that's over here, not the G track. Alright, so alright, I'm gonna have to make it up as I go. Because what I was thinking was, if I go down the G track, I can park my caboose off to the side in the storage tracks in front of the station office. I could put my caboose right over there so that it's out of the way. But the problem is the pipes are at the very back, so the only way they're getting unloaded properly is if oh no, I can still do it that way. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take the train, I'm going to pull down the G track, pull all the way through it. It's like pull all the way through the G track. And then I'm going to shove the caboose back in front of the station office, then pull forward onto G, grab the DE2 that definitely spawns in front of the station office, grab that, run in, grab the pipes off the back of the train, back up, and shove them onto the D track. Then I park the DE2, pay off the fees for it, go back over here, grab my DE6s, back up through the G lot again, back into the C track where the other set of rails is going, then pull forward, turn left, back up onto the E track to drop off the frontmost set of rails. Then we'll be facing the correct direction that all I gotta do is just pull forward out of the E track and back up into the roundhouse to refuel. Easy day. Okay. Gonna have to kill the throttle a little bit more because once we get past this area over here, it starts going down to like 35. Or at least my preferred method is to go down to 35. Alright. So we're under 40. And we're just on 40, we're not under it yet. And we had to push to get just from the steel mill to where we are now. Burned through a third of the diesel, and I'll guarantee it's the same in both locomotives. This is a heavy load. Which means it's probably going to be at least an hour before we even get to the harbor. Well, not an hour remaining. But we're coming up on 45 minutes. And we're just over halfway there. So yeah, it's going to be at least the first hour gone, just crossing the threshold into the harbor. Alright. And then we got to figure out what we're doing next. Now, I could do my normal thing where I pick up probably like a military load and then run up to the military base. Because since I'm just coming down from the goods factory, I'm probably not going to go there next. So more than likely the thing that I would aim for would either be the military base or the Oil Well Central City Southwest Machine Factory loop. I could go that way instead. So it's either Machine Factory or military base. I'll just have to see what's available when I look at the jobs in the station office. Okay, kill the throttle completely, because now we're going downhill. Alright, now we start the stressful part of the journey. But it's just whatever. Going uphill is slow and painful, but going downhill is stressful. Going uphill, it's kind of like whatever. Whatever speed we can get to is just what we've got. You just deal with it. But going downhill, you got to be a lot more careful is you have to watch how you apply your brakes, make sure they don't fade, fail, you don't melt your brake shoes. You have to be a lot more careful going downhill than you do going up. There's not a whole lot that can go wrong going uphill, but a lot of things can go wrong going down. So this is the thing that's going to make or break your trip. But I gotta be careful. Well, I have to be careful anyway. But I have to really pay close attention because there are a couple of areas where if I don't strictly monitor my speed and it gets away from me, there are a couple of areas, specifically like this last turn before you get to the harbor properly. I've had a couple of times where I've had seemingly random string line derailments right around there. So basically, I've just started being very strict about monitoring my speed through this entire area. And truthfully, I pretty much ignore the speed limit signs. Even though they say you can go 60, 70, 80k, no, we're not doing that. 35 is the way to go. Because the speed limit signs are entirely too close together, and you kind of have to go the lowest speed that part of your train is in the zone for. So, since we just passed a 40k sign back there, my caboose is way back there, so that's the end of my train. So it's going to be in the 40k zone for a while. And then I have no good way of knowing where the speed zones are. So you kind of just pick the lowest one and go with that. The exception being in the harbor itself, but I'll touch on that when I'm getting parked on the D track. And this section of track over here by City Southwest. And also City Southwest itself, but that's another thing that I'll touch on if that's the way that I end up going. The jury's still out. But those couple of areas where I absolutely will not go above, say, 20 kilometers an hour, even though the speed limit is much higher. Well, much higher in the harbor. Like, the signs going around the harbor tell you you can go 50 kilometers an hour, but do not go 50 kilometers an hour. You absolutely will derail or break something, and my game is freaking out, but that's because it's spawning all of the things at the harbor. It is not having fun. Yeah, it does not like going to the harbor. But the good news is, with the simulator update, they have the normal optimization and bug fixing, mostly because they've pretty much rebuilt the entire engine from the ground up. So even though they're making things look better, they're also cleaning up the things that are already in the game. So basically, it's almost as if Alt Future was releasing like an entirely new game and just calling it a free update. So naturally, I'm really looking forward to it, as is quite literally the rest of the community that likes Derail Valley. Which is why you kind of have to laugh when people go onto the Discord server and they're like, has this game been abandoned? Like, it hasn't been updated in like 2 years. Like, what's up? And then it's like, no, it absolutely has not been abandoned. There's a major update coming out in the next couple of months that basically rebuilt the entire game. So no, it is not dead by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, let's grab this. And I need my remote. Alright, now they say to jump off on the engineer side, but I'm not doing that. Don't have any particular reason, it's just the door's on the left side, so why would I jump off on the right? Alright. So, the plan is we gotta go onto the D track. So we go to this switch right here. Go right, but we're gonna use that DE2. And we're gonna use that to put the cars onto the D track. But we're going to temporarily go onto the E track. Alright, I need goods factory pipe. Now 4 should be to the left. And this is 4. Alright, good to go. Let's hit the horn. Because we've definitely blown through a couple of crossings at this point. And we gotta slow down specifically for this crossing right here. This one has absolutely obliterated a couple cars at different points. I don't know which switch it is. It could be this one, it could be that one. I don't know. But the point is, I was going 18 kilometers an hour, and it annihilated 2 of my cars. And as you can tell, I have a lot of cars. So I would prefer to not derail here. Oh, and we actually did not take 15 minutes to get here. We're already here. It's just we have a lot of train that needs to get put away. Okay, good. Alright. Let's keep an eye on everything. Alright, and there are the pipes. They haven't even cleared past the C track. It's going pretty good. I'm currently working on getting pipes and rails put away at the harbor. And I gotta do this slightly complex process where I'm pulling everything onto the G track, and then I'm gonna back up, dump my caboose over there, pick up that DE2, and pull out the pipes, shove them over there into the D track, back up the middle cut of cars onto the C track, and the front cut of cars have to go over onto the E track. Yeah, this one's a pretty good size, especially for Derail Valley standards. I actually had to get up to notch 7 coming out of the steel mill. Normally, I don't have to go that high. Tried going into 8, and it started wheel slipping, so I just turned it back down to 7. Like, okay, that's good. So, pipes came down from the goods factory on Monday, and I just picked up the rails earlier. Yeah, 2 DE6s. I don't know exactly how many tons, but I want to say the rails are like 800 or 900 tons per load, and then the pipes, let's see, 500 tons. So not light by any stretch of the imagination. And I got to be careful right here because one of these 2 switches here have destroyed 2 of my cars at some point. So I got to be careful because if you get above 18 kilometers an hour, even though it says you can go 50, you get above 18 and you just blow up the train somehow. And that's kind of impressive considering the fact that I'm carrying steel. Just steel. That's at least 1-inch diameter pipe. Maybe 1.5 inches. That's some heavy pipe. That looks like normal schedule 80. Alright, so in theory, if I want to park the caboose and get it out of the way, all I gotta do is get it past this switch right here. And then I just gotta push far enough forward to get all of the rails past this switch so that I can hook up the DE2 and grab the pipes off the back. Alright, so let's go a little bit farther. And we're clear. So apply the train brake, apply the independent, release the train brake, put it in reverse. Flip the switch, throttle up. Give that a second. Because it's gonna be... It's gonna have a lot of fun with this. Hit the horn, because why not? Okay. That switch is aligned. Since this is literally a dead end with a buffer over there, don't need to go very fast. Especially since there's a lot of train that needs to stop. But it's whatever. As you can see, the fun has already started. Now, this train is going to get progressively lighter. It's just gonna suck. Oh. Alright. Can we please get the train parked without any issues? Can we not blow something up? Let me get a drink. Okay. Progress. Okay. Go over here. Throttle up again. Because it really doesn't want to go over there. It is trying its hardest to not let me drop off this caboose. This is probably not the most efficient way to do this, but it's what I'm doing. I need to make sure the caboose is well clear of this switch so I can get the DE2 out. It's all the process. Alright, that should be good. Alright. So... Huh? Of course, it would start being weird right there. Let's grab this, put that back. No, actually, make sure we disconnect the hoses. Then go over here, and let's actually set the handbrake this time. Alright, good to go. Alright. Yeah, dropping off just the caboose going to make a world of difference with this train. But luckily, this next part is going to make the train a lot lighter. Because now we're actually going to start dropping off the cars. Alright, that should be fast enough. Because all we gotta do is flip this switch. And we have to get this car past that switch. And then we can start doing some really sketchy high-speed switching. And when I hook the DE2 up to these cars and pull them back, I can also back up the DE6s until they get to about this point. And then I can just stop them there so that it's less of a distance when I'm backing up to the C track. But I'll figure that out sooner or later. Alright, so pop it into reverse. And then we need to go up here and disconnect from this. Alright, so they're now disconnected from the DE6s. So we run over here, turn this off to save battery real quick. We need a DE2. And yeah, that's enough distance for the DE2. It'll be good. Alright, so we go grab this right here. I don't use the DE2 very often. Alright, let's turn on cab lights. Okay. Reverser, horn. Go 10. Let's try to get it under 5. It's always weird because even though there are very clearly 2 doors in the DE2, I've don't think I've ever actually used them. Which it kind of goes with what I was saying earlier about how when the simulator update comes out, myself and I would imagine a lot of other people are going to be running into doors and windows a lot while we get used to the fact that we actually have to use doors again. It shouldn't be that rough of a transition because games like Train Sim World that does not have a dash or teleport feature, you have to open up the doors for that. So it's not like it's a completely foreign concept. It's just so convenient to just walk through the wall. But we won't be able to do that anymore with the simulator update. All right. Let's go over here. Grab this, grab this. Okay. Now we have to get this. Oh, that's a problem. Yeah, let's just remake the movie Unstoppable. Like, it was 9 cars, so I put it in notch 8. Alright, let's throttle up a little bit. Alright, now the train is actually getting lighter. Oh, it also doesn't have a window, so you can't open the window on this one. That's disappointing. I mean, you can forcefully open the window, but that's another thing entirely. Okay. Like, with the DE2 specifically, I've never given much thought to where the doors even are. I know I had to use it for the tutorial, but I'm pretty sure beyond that, I've never even considered it. I don't think after the tutorial I ever touched the door on the DE2. I think I always just, like, walked through the wall. But it's whatever. Alright, so all I gotta do is just get those cars to about here. Should probably be good. Because I don't really need to get them any closer than that. Just here makes it so I don't have to back up as far when I gotta move over to the C track. And more than likely, what I'm going to have to do is when I get over to the C track, I'm going to have to drop off these cars, pull forward, and then back up the front set of cars. Onto the loading track so that I can get turned around, because there's no way they're both gonna fit on the inbound track. Or at least I don't think they will. Maybe it's possible, I'll have to wait and see, but I don't think it's gonna work. So let's turn that off. Let's get into the DE2 real quick. Alright, kick off the independent. This is what we're doing now. Didn't have any problems with the DE6s, but now the DE2, is getting hung up. L6. Excuse me. Alright. It'll also be really cool when the circuit breakers actually do something. They don't at the moment, but with the update, they will. Well, I mean, they kind of do something in the sense that you have to turn them on before you can start the engine, but they don't do anything in the sense of, like, they control specific systems. It's just, are they on, yes or no? If no, the engine won't start. If yes, the engine can start. And then it'll turn them off when you derail. Guess I probably should have shut off the DE6s while I was doing this, because leaving them just idling probably isn't the best idea, but it'll be fine. I was gonna refuel them anyway. Where's the fuel? Oh, it has 2,000 liters of diesel. Alright, now I've got the switch aligned to go to 4i. So everything's good in that regard. And then the good news is, all I gotta do is, since I'm right here, I just have to wait until the corner of that car passes the sign for D4I, and we're golden. Go turn in the job booklet. And get paid for definitely the latest job of the three. All three are going to be late, but this one's going to be the worst. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. D3, D4. Alright, so there. Okay. Grab this. Disconnect. Okay. Now we go over here, flip this switch, and turn in this. Okay, good to go. 21,000 is not bad. Yeah, it's supposed to take 24 minutes. It took 208. Hopefully the customers aren't that upset about it. Better late than never. Don't know why it just put me on the platform and not inside. I guess I didn't teleport to the right spot. Alright, let me get a drink real quick. Alright, good to go. Now we get this thing parked over there. And we're good. I will run in and pay the environmental, or pay off the fees for this one, though. It'll be a little bit more expensive, but it's not worth the hassle of getting it over to the roundhouse. And guaranteed, it's not going to cost $21,000 to refuel. Let's make sure we're clear of the caboose, or clear of the switch so we can get to the caboose, if we so desire. Neutral reverser, cab light off. Okay. Now, let's go... Actually, let's just go in here. This will be so much easier. $1,200. We're good. It's going to cost way more than that just for the DE6s. Okay. So, now for the hard part. Gotta flip this switch. Gotta flip that switch. That switch. Alright, now we've gotten rid of the heaviest cars. So it should be slightly easier to deal with now. But only slightly. And actually, there's a slim chance this might fit. If they can both go into the inbound track, then I don't have to pull forward and back into the loading track, and I can just turn left so that I can back up into the E track. And that'll make my life a little bit easier. Even if it's only just a little bit. Okay, let's ease it back a little bit. Alright, so this one has 12 cars. And the other one, the job booklet's in the cab. Alright, is this 297 or 042? 042. Okay. So I need 12 cars from this point. But it's anyone's guess if all of the cars are going to fit on the inbound track. It is a pretty long track, but I don't know if they're all going to fit. But we are going to see. Alright, so there are my locomotives. Let's throttle up a little bit. because the whole idea is I need to get turned around so I can make the left to go that way, specifically so that I can back into the E-track with the front cut of cars. And we're having problems again. Never a dull moment with this job. But the hope is that it won't cause any bad enough problems to break one of the cars. Because that's always bad. Alright, let's see. Okay, we're still not even fully around the corner yet. So more than likely this isn't going to work, but what I can do is go all the way back to the other end of the track, and then, or I can just ride this car to the back. Yeah, just ride this specific car all the way back to where the sign is, and then see where that leaves. And then that'll be the deciding factor of whether or not I will be able to just pull out from this track, or if I'll have to pull forward and back onto the loading track. Welcome back. I don't think you missed much. I did this crazy process where I had to pull onto the G track, back up my caboose, pull all the way onto the G track, grab a DE2, grab the pipes, shove them onto the D track, put the DE2 back, and now I'm in the process of getting the first or the middle cut of cars of rails onto C2I. And I'm currently riding on the car because I'm going to see if I can get this car all the way back to that sign over there. I might not need to push the front set of cars onto this track, because I want to get turned around, so I want to make that left up there so that I can back the front cars onto the E-track. But since there are a lot of rails, I don't know if I'm going to fit. So I'm going to trial and error this a little bit and hope for the best. But as you can see, the train is currently encountering some problems somewhere, and one of the switches at some point is messing with me. So I gotta push a little bit harder, even though we only have about 2/3 of the weight left. Because we don't have the pipes and don't have the caboose. So the heaviest load is gone, but the lighter load, or the lighter loads, are still heavy. And we're coming up on 2 hours. Or an hour and a half, but it'll be a lot closer to 2 hours when I get done and get these put away. Then I still got to take my locomotives over to the roundhouse and get them refueled. So there is still more fun and adventure to be had. Alright, I'm not thinking I'm going to be doing any logistics or shunting jobs, because I have this sinking suspicion that a few of these have to get dug out. That's logistics haul. Yeah, and this is literally the last set of cars. And there's like 2, maybe 3 or 4 in front of it. So wherever this logistics mission is going, I don't think I'm doing that job. Maybe I'll luck out and there'll be like some car haulers, or I might go over and get a military job. The verdict's still out. Alright, where is the locomotive? Alright, they're up there. I've got 3 car lengths between here and there. So this might be fine. Oh wait, no. This is the sign I need to worry about. That's the sign for the loading track. Alright. This is the inbound track. And if I keep an eye on where the black plume up there is, I'll have a rough idea where my locomotives are. Alright. Okay. So, alright, 042, 219, 704, 403, 389. Oh, thought that was a 0 for some reason. 115, 620, 217, 822, 411, 049, and the next one should be 297, and cut here. Okay. A moment of truth. Did it fit? It did not. Alright. We tried. I mean, I guess realistically what I could do I could... Do I plan to do another job after this? I'm not sure yet. Alright, so what I could have done... I could go over here. Flip this switch. And then I want to say it's 8. Yeah. this one right here. And I could just pull through and then just back up onto the C track to just turn around the locomotives. Or I could turn it around at the turntable. Yeah, that is true. All right, let's get this turned in. All right, $24,000. All right, we're doing good. Okay. And they're stuck. Fantastic. You literally just have one set of cars left. I'm not seeing what the problem is. Alright, good to go. A little fast, but it'll be fine. According to the signs, you can go 50 through here. I do not recommend going 50 through here, but to each their own. Alright, good. The track is completely empty. And then all I gotta do is just wait for the last car to pass this point, dump them off right here, go unhook the locomotives, and then back them up, back them down the C track, actually go down the loading track this time. Even though I probably won't need to go that far. But back up onto the C track, turn around, pull forward, go back to the roundhouse, refuel the locomotives, and then go get an idea of what jobs are available. Okay. Let's kick off the train brake. I don't think I've seen any cars. If anything, there would be auto racks here sometimes. Alright, so go forward. Wait, no. Something just did not sound right for a second there. Sounded like I was getting wheel slip, but... Alright, these are probably gasoline, and those look like acetylene. Yep, gas. Gas. So I guess realistically I could have used the E-track to turn around, but instead I used the G as like my intermediate. Alright, once you're past this switch, throttle up. Matter of fact, let's hop on the locomotive real quick. And let's just do it this way. As they say, a lazy railroader is a safe railroader. Okay, I need my remote back. But, in spite of not doing a whole lot, this has actually been a fairly productive stream. Sort of. I have a feeling that both of these gasoline trains, or both of these gasoline loads, are going to City Southwest. And if that's the case, that could be what I work on next. It's looking like they're just unit trains, just straight gasoline. Sometimes they mix it up and they put gasoline and diesel together, but that does not appear to be the case this time. Okay, so I need this one. Right. Alright, let me get a drink. Funny thing is, now all I'm doing is just turning around. Now I could turn around using the turntable. But then I would just be turning around one locomotive at a time, whereas this way I can turn around both locomotives simultaneously. Well, this time, since I'm going backwards, I actually will be jumping off on the engineer side. Which apparently is the side you're supposed to jump off anyway. Alright, so let's hop off right here. and then get this switch lined up back with the E-track, because that's the way that I'll be going next time. Well, clear the switch. Alright, so go over here. And I need to flip this switch because it's still my personal procedure to use the loading track as kind of like a turnaround for like the Y. Probably not the best way to do it, but it's whatever. It is what it is. Alright, so get the locomotives past this point. Oh, they won't even get to the loading track. I'm really hoping... Actually, I might have to ask about that on the Discord server. I'll have to ask if they're going to put the switches at the end of the switch. Kind of curious about that now. It's another one of those like trivial things that doesn't really make a bit of difference in the grand scheme of things. But it's whatever. It's something that I'm curious about. Alright, we got a couple of 282s, DE2, and this one needs to be flipped because I'm going to be coming from that direction now. Sometimes the horn works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's whatever. Or I could just do something completely out of the blue and give a shot and try out that whole see if I can teleport with my two locomotives here. Because I really like having them be in sequential order. I think that's really cool, even though it's like the dumbest, most trivial thing ever. But I'm curious, since they are properly coupled and MU connected, supposedly if I want to teleport, I can bring them both with me. It'll be expensive, but with $2.4 million all earned legitimately, I don't really think I'm worried about it. The cost is kind of irrelevant at this point. Alright, so we gotta get past this point. Alright, now I gotta be really careful because right over here, right when it gets to the turntable, it has like this weird habit of coming to a complete stop at the turntable. It's kind of like annoying. What locomotives do we have in here today? 36, 41, 53, and 39. And there, it came to a complete stop right on the turntable. Alright. The 282 is pretty cool. It's just a lot more difficult to run. The trick is just using it properly. And for me personally, I don't really know how to... I know how to use it, but I don't use it particularly well. Now we bled through a lot of fuel. And I just realized I have not turned in the job booklet yet, so that's a thing. $10 grand. Alright. Now the back locomotive is currently dead weight. Just gotta push it back a little bit farther to get the lead locomotive into the barn, and then we're good. Then I can go pay off the environmental fees at the same time that I turn in the job booklet. Alright. Okay, I'm not gonna need that right now. Turn this off. Now, it just occurred to me that when I did the service on the other one, I forgot to hit the breakers. So we can go over here, and they're good now. No worries then. Still bled through about half the diesel. Barely touched the oil, but I'm not sure what the climate is like in Derail Valley. I don't know if it's like particularly hot, cold. Supposedly, the locomotives are based off of things exported to Yugoslavia, but Alt Future themselves, they're based in Serbia, which has a similar climate to Romania, except it might be a little bit warmer in Serbia because they're closer to the Med. But it was actually a pretty nice temperature in Bucharest, and I was there in February. I was told it would be cold when I got there. It wasn't that cold. I've seen cold. Oh, this one's 28 grand. Alright. Good to go. Alright, let's pay some fees. Alright, good to go. Now, let's get a feel for what sort of jobs we've got running. City Southwest, just like I said. Machine Factory. And City Southwest. That is 600 tons. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's see. Acetylene. I know there's another one. Steel mill. Goods factory. Cryo. Food Factory. Oil Well Central. Okay. That's probably going to be the move. I thought there would be more, but apparently there aren't. Alright, so let's get this and this. These are both going to be heavy. Okay. E5, E7, and E6 is the main, so these are literally the ones I was just looking at. And oh, yeah, that's fine. And then this one, it's a logistics mission. G. And it's going to Oil Well Central. So let's go hop out and see what we got over here. If they're easy to get to, we're golden. Oh, perfect. All right, so good to go. So that will be the thing that I work on next time. We'll be taking gasoline to City Southwest and empty tankers to Oil Well Central. So that'll be pretty cool. And then I guess in theory I could also grab the acetylene that's going up to the machine factory, but this might be heavy enough. And then while we're at it, we'll go take a quick look to see if there are any military cargo going to the machine factory. Trucks, ammunition. Yeah, there's just a logistics haul of empty boxcars. It's not worth it. Alright, so as a bit of a recap of what I have accomplished in this particular stream, I started off at the steel mill, got hooked up to 2 cuts of cars carrying steel rails, and I brought them back here to the harbor. I still had a cut of cars with steel pipes from the goods factory that was also coming back to the harbor. Got them down the tracks, got back to the harbor just like I was supposed to. Way late in the grand scheme of things, but it's kind of whatever. Got here, had to do some fairly complex, like switching maneuvers, had to move some cars around, and it was just a bit of a process to get my train facing the way that I wanted it to be facing. And I got everything backed up, put away just like it was supposed to. And now, for next time, I will be getting those tankers, and another set of tankers from over at the G track. And those will be going to City Southwest, and those will be going to Oil Well Central, so they'll be stopping about halfway there. But as of right now, this seems like as good of a stopping place as any. So, it's been a fairly productive stream as of this point. But in any regard, this has been Derail Valley. Thank you all for watching, and hopefully you have a nice day.